Have you ever had that feeling like there's this incredible potential just sort of simmering beneath the surface, something powerful inside you just waiting?
Yeah, like a hidden power source we haven't quite figured out how to plug into.
Exactly. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into a book that claims to give you the key to the most awesome power within your reach. We're talking about Joseph Murphy's classic, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind.
And that's really our mission today, isn't it? To sort of unpack the core ideas from this hugely influential book. We want to look at the practical ways it suggests you can change your life and also understand, how it's actually impacted readers.
It makes some pretty bold claims, doesn't it? Achieving the seemingly impossible just by understanding your subconscious.
Yeah, it really does. What's so interesting, I think, is how Murphy blends spiritual ideas with what he called scientific research, essentially psychological insights. He's trying to show how this subconscious part of us influences, well, pretty much everything in daily life.
And it's clearly resonated. I mean, millions of copies sold, translated into, over 30 languages, and it's never been out of print. That's remarkable.
It says a lot, definitely. Its staying power is kind of incredible.
So as we get started here, maybe take a second. Listener, think about your own life. Have you noticed times when maybe your inner thoughts, those beliefs you hold deep down, seem to kind of shape what happens?
Or maybe situations you seem drawn to, good or bad.
Yeah.
Almost like your mind's pulling you there.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing we're exploring. Because the book sets the bar high, right? It claims the techniques are simple and results come quickly.
Exactly. It's positioned as this practical toolkit for, rapid change. And that promise of real, tangible results is a big part of its appeal, I think. We're going to dig into just how Murphy says you can make that happen.
Okay. Before we go on, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like the video. The podcast is known as the Deep Seek Diaries, and you can find us on the major social media platforms like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Linked in the description section are all the resources in discussion today, including books, websites, and so on. Please go through our terms and conditions as soon as you can. Now sit back and enjoy the podcast. All right, so we've set the stage. Let's really get into the meat of it now, the foundational idea. Section 1, the core philosophy. Understanding the subconscious as, the ultimate power within us.
Yeah, the book hammers this home right from the start. Your subconscious holds the most awesome power within your reach. That's the central claim.
And the promise is huge. Tapping into this leads to success, happiness, prosperity, and peace. It almost sounds too good to be true until you dig into his explanation.
Absolutely. And this is where it gets really fascinating. Murphy doesn't just see the subconscious as an influence. He sees it as arguably the major force shaping our lives. It's this deep wellspring of energy and intelligence that mostly operates below our conscious radar.
So it's different from our conscious mind, the part that analyzes and reasons.
Totally different. The conscious mind decides, judges, analyzes. The subconscious, it just accepts. It takes whatever you consistently feed it, thoughts, beliefs, feelings, whether they're true or false, good or bad. It doesn't filter.
Like fertile ground, you mean, whatever seed you plant.
Exactly. It'll grow weeds just as readily as vegetables, without judging. And the really profound part is this power isn't something external you have to find. It's within everyone, already there.
So we're already equipped. We just need to learn how to use it.
That's the core message. The solutions, the power for change, it's all inside in our own mental landscape. We just need to learn how to cultivate that inner garden, so to speak.
And the key mechanism for that cultivation, he says, is fundamentally simple. Change your life simply by changing your beliefs. That's the lever.
Precisely. It shifts the whole game from fighting external circumstances to mastering your inner world. He argues pretty forcefully that your thoughts and perceptions of reality color and determine your entire world. It's not just a nice idea. He presents it as a direct cause and effect relationship.
He's quite blunt about it too, isn't he? You are what you think about all day long. Negative thoughts, negative life. Fearful thoughts, fearful reality.
Yeah, he really emphasizes the immediate impact of our dominant mental states, our inner chatter, our deepest beliefs, the pictures we hold in our minds. They aren't just noise. They're the actual blueprints for our lives, according to Murphy.
Wow. So if thoughts literally become things, the implications for personal responsibility are huge.
Enormous.
Yeah.
It means you're not just reacting to life, you're actively, maybe unconsciously, creating it by sending these instructions to your subconscious.
Which leads us straight into this idea of attraction he talks about. Thoughts become things. You attract what you think about. Your subconscious draws you towards it. Sounds a lot like the law of attraction, but maybe with a twist.
It does align, yeah, but Murphy grounds it very specifically in the subconscious mechanism. It's not some vague external force. He explains it's not just about wanting something consciously.
Right.
It's the subconscious acting like this internal navigation system, pulling you towards whatever you persistently focus on, feelingly, whether you're aware of that focus or not.
So it works based on the programming you give it.
Exactly. Feed it thoughts of lack and fear, and it'll guide you towards experiences that match. Feed it thoughts of abundance and success, impress those upon it, and it'll find ways, attract circumstances, spark ideas that align with those thoughts.
He uses that saying, right? He who thinks he can and he who thinks he can't are both usually right.
Perfect example. It shows how our underlying subconscious beliefs dictate what we think is possible, which affects our actions, and boom, affects the outcome. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, driven by our inner programming. It's deeper than just willpower.
And he takes it even further, suggesting we can use this understanding to tackle specific issues, like phobias. He says, once you understand your subconscious mind, you can also control or get rid of the various phobias, which could be life-changing for some people.
It's a huge claim, absolutely.
Oh.
It speaks to the level of control he believes we can gain. His idea is that phobias often stem from old subconscious impressions or conditioning. Understanding this gives you agency.
So it's not just abstract benefits, but a path to actively banish fears and feel just happier by getting to the root cause.
That's the promise. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much of our daily anxiety or self-sabotage comes not from the present, but from these old programs running in the background.
Yeah, definitely.
Murphy suggests we can consciously rewrite those programs, bridging that gap between wanting to change and actually changing. It's about recoding your inner operating system, essentially.
Okay, so understanding the power is one thing, but the big question is how? How do we actually do this? How do we change beliefs, control this force day to day? Which brings us nicely to section 2, the practical techniques and exercises. This is where it gets really hands-on.
Right, and this is the strength of the book, I think. It's not just theory. The core technique is about talking to your subconscious in a positive way to reinforce positive thinking. But it's more than just saying nice things to yourself.
It needs to be deliberate, consistent.
Very deliberate, consistent, and importantly, emotionally charged. The conscious mind needs to act like a gatekeeper, only letting in thoughts and beliefs that serve you.
And he talks about catching yourself, right? That negative inner talk.
Yes, that's crucial. Catching your inner talk in moments of weakness and negativity and flip it to the positive. This is an active, real-time mental workout.
So if you catch yourself thinking, I can't do this,
You stop. You acknowledge it, maybe, but then you immediately reframe it. I can learn this. I have the resources. This challenge makes me stronger. Something like that. You do it consistently. It's like building a new mental muscle. Takes practice.
He also mentions visualization, especially before sleep.
Yes, vividly imagining the desired outcome as already real, feeling the emotions of having achieved it. That time before sleep is key, he says, because the conscious mind is quieter and the subconscious is more open to suggestion.
That makes sense. It sounds disciplined, though. And then there's this term he uses, scientific prayer. What's that about? It sounds a bit different.
It does sound intriguing, yeah, and it can be confusing.
Yeah.
But Murphy clarifies it's not necessarily religious in a traditional sense. It's not about asking an external being for help.
Okay.
It's a focused, intentional mental process.
Okay.
The goal is to train your mind to have a default mode of positivity, wealth, success, and love through scientific prayer. It's structured positive thinking, you could say, but with deep feeling and conviction.
So how does it work practically?
Well, you first get a really clear mental picture of what you want: better health, more money, whatever. Then, and this is key, you feel the reality of it now. Feel the joy, the relief, the gratitude, as if it's already happened.
The feeling is the important part.
Absolutely. The subconscious responds most strongly to feeling. Then you repeat a concise, positive statement, an affirmation like, I am healthy and strong, or prosperity flows to me, feeling it deeply as you say it.
And the timing matters. Like before sleep again.
Yes, morning upon waking, and especially just before sleep, are prime times. The conscious critic is less active. You're essentially planting seeds, as he puts it, in the fertile ground of your subconscious, connecting with what he calls the infinite power available to all. It's like programming your inner computer with thoughts and feelings as the code.
It sounds very active, very deliberate. And it seems like readers really connect with this practical side. People mention the book has methods of how you can start to exercise your subconscious. It's not just reading, it's doing.
Exactly. That comes through strongly in the feedback. These are seen as actual mental exercises, not just ideas. And people report real results, like that comment. They have changed my perception, already helped me achieve great goals. It shows these techniques can have a tangible impact.
And it's not about a quick fix, but consistent practice.
Right. Murphy emphasizes consistency. Even reading a few pages every day, engaging with the principles regularly, acts as a form of this mental exercise. It's like working out your mind, building strength over time.
And the benefits aren't just about goals, right? He talks about healing, better sleep, better relationships, just feeling happier overall.
Yes, and these aren't just lucky side effects. They're presented as the direct results of applying the principles. He gives lots of examples, anecdotes of people overcoming illness, fear, relationship problems by changing their subconscious patterns.
Like the reader who mentioned it helped with anxiety. They found a different way of thinking.
Precisely. It shows the potential for broad transformation, mental, emotional, even physical well-being by working with your subconscious, not just being subject to its old programming. It's a really holistic view.
I hope you are enjoying the topic so far. Please subscribe to the Deep Seek Diaries and like this video. Don't forget you can find us on the major social media platforms like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Linked in the description section are all the resources in discussion today, including books, websites, and so on. Okay, so let's shift focus a bit and talk about the man himself, Dr. Joseph Murphy, and how his work has been received over the decades. This is Section 3, the author, his legacy, and reader reception. Murphy had quite a background, didn't he? Minister-director at the Church of Divine Science in L.A.
Yeah, for many years. Huge congregations, apparently. And incredibly prolific, over 30 books, selling millions of copies. Plus a long-running radio show reaching even more people. His reach was massive.
He's seen as a key figure in the human potential movement, right?
Definitely. A foundational figure, really. That whole movement was about the idea that we have these vast, untapped inner resources for growth and achievement. Murphy's work fits perfectly, empowering people by focusing on their inner mental world, rather than just external factors.
He stands alongside some big names in self-help history.
Absolutely. You can see connections to earlier writers like James Allen, Dale Carnegie, Napoleon Hill, Norman Vincent Peale, and his influence clearly extends forward to modern figures like Tony Robbins, Louise Hay, Zig Ziglar. Many acknowledge his impact.
So what made his contribution stick so powerfully?
Well, part of it, I think, was his focus on practical application. His lectures, his radio show, they were full of examples of how real people have radically improved their lives using his specific concepts. It wasn't just abstract theory, and the power of your subconscious mind itself just keeps selling, keeps getting translated. It clearly offers something timeless and practical.
And the reader reviews certainly reflect that. Overwhelmingly positive descriptions like engaging, life changer, informative, simple, full of wisdom, really strong endorsements.
Hugely positive overall, yes. But for a balanced picture, it's good to look at some of the nuances, the occasional criticisms too, like the pacing, for instance.
Right, some found the beginning a bit slow, heavy going.
Yeah, particularly the first third, where he includes lots of historical examples of healings. Some felt it delayed getting to the practical stuff, but then often those same readers said after that it became a breeze, very easily laid out.
While others liked the simpler style, saying it let them think as you read.
Exactly. So the pacing might work better for some than others, depending on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
It seems deliberate, perhaps meant to be contemplative.
Another common comment is about repetition. People notice it repeats itself a lot.
It's a really frequent observation, yeah. And it raises an interesting question. Is it just, clunky writing, or is it intentional?
What do you mean?
Well, think about Murphy's own ideas. The subconscious learns through repetition, through consistent impression. Maybe he deliberately repeats the core concepts, the power of belief, scientific prayer, not just for clarity, but to actually impress them onto the reader's subconscious.
Huh. So the repetition itself could be seen as one of his techniques.
It's a thought, right. It might be a way of reinforcing the message on a deeper level, turning a potential critique into part of the method, kind of meta.
Interesting take. Then there's a whole religious aspect, which seems to divide people. Some find it too religious.
This is where it gets really interesting, yeah, because it shows how people filter it through their own backgrounds. Some definitely react against the biblical quotes or spiritual references.
But others defend it, saying it's not really a religious book, that it just uses proverbs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They argue that people who call it too religious haven't grasped the core message. And this highlights Murphy's unique blend. He takes spiritual wisdom from various traditions, the Bible, other scriptures, but interprets it through a psychological lens.
So faith or prayer become psychological principles.
Pretty much. Faith becomes unwavering belief impressing the subconscious. Prayer becomes a method for programming it. He's trying to extract universal principles of mind, not promote a specific religion. That's why it lands differently for different readers. He's bridging psychology and spirituality.
Got it. And quickly, there was that note about the audiobook quality being nonsensical rubbish.
Ah, yes. Important to clarify that. That was specifically about the production of one version, bad narration, sound issues, something like that. It wasn't a comment on the book's content at all, just a technical issue for potential audio listeners to be aware of.
Okay, good clarification. So, wrapping up this section, despite a few critiques on pacing or repetition and the varied reactions to the spiritual side, the overwhelming takeaway is that this book has been profoundly impactful and insightful for a huge number of people.
Without a doubt. Its lasting power speaks for itself.
So let's tie it all together now. Section 4. The transformative potential and final thoughts. After exploring the philosophy, the techniques, the author, what does this all really mean for you, the listener? How can this actually change things?
Well, I think the core message, the really empowering part, is about agency. It comes back to that idea. Your power is your ability to choose your attitude towards everything external.
Yeah.
It's not just about understanding the subconscious. It's about actively directing it.
The book offers pearls of wisdom, helps you think differently. It's about mastering the mind.
Exactly. And it connects to that bigger idea that mastering your mind is this essential human journey. It's an ongoing process, not a one-off event. The book gives you a kind of roadmap for that journey.
And a key part of that journey, as one reviewer put it so well, is self-awareness. The ultimate task is to build self-awareness so that you can catch your inner talk and flip it to the positive. It really boils down to that moment-to-moment awareness, doesn't it?
That's absolutely crucial. Maybe the book's greatest value is fostering that self-awareness. It takes the subconscious from being this mysterious background force and turns it into a tool you can consciously work with.
Being able to catch your inner talk means you're paying attention, you're mindful.
Right. And it makes you ask yourself, doesn't it? How much of my daily life, my reactions, habits, emotions is running on autopilot, driven by subconscious programs I didn't even know were there?
Yeah, it's a powerful question.
Murphy's book gives you the tools to bring those hidden drivers into the light so you can start consciously choosing your internal state. And by extension, your external reality. You become the architect, not just the occupant of your experience.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the power of your subconscious mind, here's something to maybe chew on. If your subconscious really is constantly guiding you towards what you consistently think and feel, what might be the unconscious beliefs or thoughts currently shaping the parts of your life you don't want?
That's a deep one.
And flipping that around, what could happen if you truly committed with real intent and feeling, like Murphy suggests, to training your mind, to planting those positive seeds, catching that negative self-talk, and consistently aligning your inner world with what you truly desire? What kind of transformation might that unlock?
Something powerful to consider, for sure.
I hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the DeepSeek Diaries. Please don't forget to check out the linked resources in the description section. Hit the subscribe and like buttons as you head off if you haven't already. Until the next episode, goodbye.